Привет, I'm Chuck Olinik. I'm a Ukrainian-American. I was baptized with the name Yaroslav, which is also the name that I use in the Society for Creative Anachronism. I've been putting together videos on Slavic folklore and mythology and customs and history and putting them up as one of the categories on my YouTube channel. And this was a subject I had meant to get to earlier. By the way, it happens to be Easter today. Not Eastern Orthodox Easter or Pascha. It's everybody else's Easter. And so I'm getting to this subject a little later than I'd planned. This is about the festival of Maslenitsa, also known as Butter Lady, Butter Week, Crepe Week, Cheese Fair Week. And it was an Eastern Slavic religious and folk holiday which still has elements of Slavic mythology in its ritual. You know, you've got that little overlay of Christianity. And it's celebrated during the last week before the Great Lent. That is the 8th week before Eastern Orthodox Pascha. Okay, that means I need to explain Great Lent, because Great Lent implies there's a Lesser Lent. In the Eastern Orthodox Church, Great Lent marks the 40 days, leading to the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ. Oh, you got the 40 days before Holy Week, when Christian Orthodox followers remember Christ's passion and death and resurrection. Okay, the first day of Great Lent, it's called Clean Monday. I'll get to that. Well, we also have a Lesser Lent that shows up basically November-ish, December-ish, which I didn't really know about because my parents never observed that one, except we pretended we did when we went to church, and I didn't really think about it. And then a priest came to visit my mom in the nursing home, and my sister said, "Oh my, don't tell Father Andrew that we ate meat." I'm like, "Why?" All right, so there's another, period of Lent and fasting. And my current priest acknowledged the difficulty of trying to keep parishioners from indulging during the holiday seasons, because he acknowledged, okay, there's all the food, there's the parties, at least try. Okay, that's not the origin of Maslenitsa, though. Ancient Slavic Maslenitsa was celebrated in early spring, when the day began to win its battle against the long night. Right? March 21st. In Old Rus, the first days of spring's first month were always unpredictable. Warm weather could quickly be replaced by harsh frost, vice versa. Maslenitsa celebrates that final crossing from cold to warm. The goddess of spring, Vesna, triumphs over the winter. Life will soon again follow its normal, predictable rhythms. But once the Slavs accepted Christianity, in some cases by fire and sword, old customs were merged into the current faith, and that was the case with Maslenitsa. There's an even older name for Maslenitsa called Kodi. Koloda's a stick. And this ritual actually was even conducted in Ukraine and Belarus even in recent times. So what would end up happening is during that week, in addition to all the other rituals that are going on, the villagers are going to celebrate the life of the koloda, the stick. So they're going to take this thick stick, they're going to dress it like a human being, and on Monday it's born, and on Tuesday it's baptized, and on Wednesday it's going to live out a really, all these difficult moments in life, and Thursday it dies, Friday it's buried, Saturday everybody mourns it, and then Sunday is basically the end of the, or the culmination of Kolodi. During this whole week, the women carried the Kolodi around the village, and they ended up tying it to all who were unmarried. And this included all those who had illegitimate children. So talk about your scarlet letter. Of course, no one wants to be branded with this label, so you bought off the women bearers with colored ribbons or beads, because beads will make them friendly, I guess, or drinks or sweets. And those were considered appropriate. Okay, so we're doing Christian stuff now. So, hide my emblem of Perun's axe, and put on my cross, because now I'm a good Christian, good Eastern Orthodox boy. I've always been aware of a number of the differences between Catholics and Eastern Orthodox believers. You get that kind of rubbed in your face when people are celebrating Easter and, of course, the Lent thing. We usually be a week apart as far as our calendars. Sometimes we're on the same weekend, but usually a week apart. But in some years, like this year, Easter is being observed today, March 31st. The Eastern Orthodox Pascha, that's going to be observed May 5th, Cinco de Mayo, 35 days later. So that means Lent, got observed on, different days. So for everybody else, Lent started on St. Valentine's Day, February 14th. It's kind of weird and symbolic. Well, for the Eastern Orthodox believers, we started on the 18th, the day after St. Patrick's Day. Ash Wednesday, Valentine's Day, same day this year. We don't do Ash Wednesday. We do Clean Monday at the beginning of Lent, and that's basically meaning we're supposed to, clean, meaning we're trying to purify the body. So if you're really strict about it, it requires fasting from Monday until that Wednesday, which, by the way, I manage to screw up every single year. And then I kind of go, okay, I'm in trouble. Why mention this? Well, what's the big blowout before Ash Wednesday? Fat Tuesday, Mardi Gras. Even non-Catholics use it as an excuse to feast and drink, like non-Irish on St. Patrick's Day and non-Mexicans on Cinco de Mayo. I was always bummed out because we didn't have an Ash Wednesday, which meant we didn't have a Fat Tuesday. Somehow Maslenitsa slipped past me and I didn't realize what we had. That was the big precursor to the Great Lent. Our Mardi Gras, only it lasts a week. So during the week of Maslenitsa, meat's already forbidden to Orthodox Christians. So that last week, with Maslenitsa, during which eggs, milk, cheese, and other dairy products are permitted, that's going to lead up to the named Cheese Fair Week, or Crepe Week. And the most characteristic food of Maslenitsa is blini, thin pancakes or crepes, and it's made from the rich foods that are still allowed to us Eastern Orthodox types: butter, eggs, milk. So why blinis? Their round shape and warmth are meant to symbolize the sun. So it's a nod to Dajbog, the sun god. And it's connecting the meal to fertility rites and reborn spring and all that good stuff. But there's another angle. The blin is the ancestral food offering for dead ancestors, which we Slavs do that as far as having meals by the graveside. Now, the blin are also drenched in butter, and that's kind of where you get the name Maslenitsa, because maslo is butter. So that's another reason we can call this, Maslenitsa Butter Week. So Maslenitsa goes on for a week, and each day of Maslenitsa has its traditional activity. Monday may be the welcoming of Lady Maslenitsa. The community together builds the Maslenitsa effigy out of straw, decorates it with rags, fixes it to a pole, and it's paraded around, and the first blini or pancakes or crepes may be made and offered to the poor. On Tuesday, young men might search for a fiancé to marry after Lent. On Wednesday, sons-in-law may visit their mothers-in-law, who has prepared pancakes and invited other guests for a party. Thursday gets devoted to outdoor activities. People may be sledding or ice skating. There may be snowball fights. There may be sleigh rides. There were also fist fights. These fist fights were quite dangerous. Sometimes people would die, and that kind of harkens back to ancient times when such fights were part of a sacrifice to Mother Earth, the blood of fallen warriors, best offerings for the gods. So on Friday, now it's the sons in law's turn to invite the mothers in law for dinner. And Saturday might be a gathering of a young wife and her sisters in law so they could start working on a good relationship with each other. So the last victim of Maslenitsa isn't human, it's the effigy. So what will happen is, the culmination of the celebration, people gather to strip Lady Maslenitsa of her finery, and they burn her in a bonfire. And then leftover pancakes or blini may also be thrown into the fire. And now Lady Maslenitsa's ashes are going to be buried in the snow to help fertilize the crops. The last day of Butter Week or Cheese Fair Week, that's called Forgiveness Sunday. At Vespers on Sunday evening, people might make a poklon or a bow before one another and ask forgiveness. And at my church, we kiss one another on the cheek, and ask forgiveness. And then basically what's happening is after that, you start on Clean Monday, where people have confessed their sins, asked forgiveness, and they start the Great Lent with a clean slate. Okay, so just a little bit of insight if you're doing an Eastern European persona, what might be going on at certain times of the year. I hope you stick around. I hope you watch more of the videos. Do pobacenia.